We will make sure, okay, that we can get all that embedded in. So a big thank you to the famous Grouse for putting that together. Solange Yvar, cheers. I can't, how do you say? Yeah, Yakivar, that's the one. Of course, to our Wonder Wallers, of course, absolutely. Absolutely. Right, so we get to the back end of the show. We're going to look at predictions, but we're also going to look at head-to-heads when we look at this tour. So when you look at the head-to-heads, Stevie, we're going to come to you first. Who have you picked for your head-to-heads when you look at it? There's obviously loads, and people can talk about them. They can pick the matchups. Who have you gone for?
Yeah, well, I went for, obviously, Courtney Laws versus...
Oh, what are you on about? Mate, you can't bring it back. he's in the wrong position.
Mate, we've already covered this. Like, we've already covered this. But I think the back row battle is going to be the winning of the game for me because they are involved so much in the game. And I feel if the Lions can get some front football, that they can win this. They absolutely can win this. I think there was a bump on the road against South Africa A. With the bookies, the Lions are favourites. And I certainly feel that this man here knows Warren Gatland a lot better than I do. He will have a plan. He will have something in place to beat this South African team. And they're match fit. And if Courtney Laws can prove me wrong and perform really well in the back row, I think they can do it, Jim.
Absolutely. Andrew, we're going to come to you next for your head-to-head.
Yeah, my head-to-head is Faf de Klerk coming up against Ali Price. Ali Price, for some, was a bit of a surprise to be picked ahead of Conor Murray, but on form, he's electric. He's a lot of front football, and he can really bring some pace and energy to this attacking team for the Lions. Faf de Klerk, he's their talisman, isn't he? The blonde hair flowing, he goes and flies into tackles. He is 110% in everything that he does. He's the fulcrum of their team in terms of the pace they play at. His ability to get the ball out of the breakdown and his kicking game is going to be huge. So if Ali Price can match and keep Faf de Klerk quiet, I think that the Lions can certainly win the game.
We should apologise to Faf de Klerk as well. We're thinking that he's going to win the series. He's going to get a load more Botox and his nose might grow back off the back of that. So Faf de Klerk, we know you're watching, live streaming in South Africa. I know you love the show. So big hello to you. Jamie?
I've gone for the wingers. Duhan van der Merwe up against Cheslin Colby. If there's ever a lesson in here that the rugby is a game for all shapes and sizes, it's the matchup between these two. Cheslin Colby, a bit of reminiscent of Shane Williams, but with 3 or 4 times the power. Outrageous player. You know, if there's ever one player you don't want to come up against in a one-on-one situation, it's this guy. He made a lot of top players look very stupid. Myself included, actually, played for Bath a few years ago and literally tackled thin air in a Heineken Cup game. Delighted when Duhan van der Merwe got named in the squad. Immense in the Six Nations. When George North got injured, I think this is the go-to ball carrier in the Lions' backline.
Yeah, no, I'm going to cut you off just there because I think a lot of people in this room or people watching would recognise the Scottish name in the surname part of that.
Yep.
But having been, we joke about it, but having been a British and Irish Lion and obviously everything around that, are you bothered that he's South African? He's going home, he's home. Like, there's all the talk in the media about it's weird seeing him be a British and Irish Lion, having played South Africa under-20s with these two. Is it weird or you not bothered, you just want to win?
Them's the rules. The guy's qualified for Scotland through residency, so, you know, fair play to him. I think his ability to carry the ball in traffic, he's going to be huge, you know. I think he's the best ball carrier the Lions have behind the scrum, and at times on the weekend, we're going to have to go route one, and he's going to be the main man. Conversely, Colby, Jesus, I mean, the more touches this guy gets, watch out Lions, because he's outrageous. Yeah, my goodness me. LJ, before we come to you, I'm just going to talk about my head-to-heads, which I've gone for Maro Itoje, who I mentored through to where we see him now. Basically, if I wasn't so crap, he would not have been fast-tracked through, but it might have been a couple of years later, so you're welcome. Ebenezer, who genuinely looks like this, he's got one arm bigger than the other, but either way, they're both bigger than my legs. But look, two, you know, the modern-day enforcers, the physicality, the way that they affect the game. You know, there's a lot of talk about Maro Itoje in terms of, is he as good as people make out? You know, the physicality, the penalties that he gives away. But you look around his work, Stevie, we've spoken about. You look around his work in the tight. Adam Beard's obviously done very well around the line-out drive, line-out maul. Maro Itoje does that. Ebenezer, the physicality that he brings. These are two of the kind of front runners when it comes to physicality, which the Lions will need. So I'm looking forward to seeing that matchup. More importantly, LJ, you've got a nice matchup that you think is going to lead us into the predictions. Well, yeah, I guess the captains is where it's at. You've got philanthropist, Rugby World Cup winner, friend of Jay-Z on one side in Khaleesi, and then on the other side, you've got the unbreakable, undamageable, comes back from everything, Lazarus, Alan Wynne-Jones. So from your perspective, boys, I want to know who you'd rather be led by. Andrew.
who would you rather be led by, and then lead that into your predictions?
Well,
so which one of them men would you follow? Maybe not that you might struggle. I don't want to stereotype. You might struggle to play a game at the weekend, but pretend you would, and you're in your, I was going to say your prime.
I'd follow Alan Wynne-Jones into battle for two reasons. One, you see what he's done on the rugby field, leading Wales and obviously previously the Lions on the last tour for a couple of the games. He is someone that demands respect and is the forefront of everything that's good about leading the challenge for Wales and leads from the front in that respect. His recovery from injury is phenomenal. You speak to any player that's been involved with him, the professionalism, and he's a man that when he speaks, people listen, and I think that's really key. A lot of players blow out hot air, like yourself, Jim, and it misses the point. The other thing with Alan Wynne-Jones, you follow him into battle, then I can help him out on the hair front afterwards because he definitely needs a hair transplant, which
I
can certainly help with.
I'll be honest, I don't think it's just Alan Wynne-Jones that needs Stevie. All of us here. Stevie, out of these two, and then into your predictions, who would you follow? I know you follow either man, but who do you think is going to win this series?
Yeah, for me, Alan Wynne-Jones is just the ultimate competitor. I've written him off a few times in the past, and you write him off at your peril. He always bounces back. The 2017 in New Zealand, he was just unbelievable, wasn't he, when he came back into the team? And I would follow him, not a problem. I know him a little bit just from the 2009 tour. So yeah, of course, Alan Wynne-Jones. However, I think he's going to be on the losing side this weekend. I'm not going to go with my heart. I'm not going to go with my heart on this occasion. I'm going to go with my head. I just think with the power, the huge men that South Africa have on the bench, they will close the game out. I think there's going to be a hell of a lot of kicking. And yeah, the bigger, stronger team for me is just going to edge it. I think it's going to be extremely tight, but unfortunately, I'm going to go with South Africa, and hopefully the Lions can turn it around the following week.
Oh, Jamie, where you going?
Alan Wynne, I've played under Alan Wynne as a skipper for Wales many times, and obviously for the Lions in Australia. Wonderful player, wonderful bloke. I've also played under Sia Khaleesi with the Stormers. I played with the Stormers last year. Along, our back row, played with 5 or 6 Springboks in that side. Khaleesi and Steph du Toit were in our back row. Frightening team to be a part of when those two are in. Peter Steph du Toit, we haven't talked much about him. Like he almost lost his leg last year. Peter Steph du Toit, special player, World Player of the Year in a World Cup year. We've spoken a lot about Khaleesi, but I think their talisman in the back row is Peter Steph du Toit. I played in the game where he got a real nasty dead leg, tough man. Like the guy never shows pain or emotion. He's just steely-eyed. And he was sat in the change room. I think he got 2 dead legs in the same spot. And he was shaking in pain. Like he rushed to hospital. I think he was out of the game for about 6 to 9 months, got compartment syndrome, almost lost his leg to save his life. So for him to come back, we've spoken about Alan Wynne-Jones coming back 3 weeks into a dislocated shoulder. For him to come back and play rugby again is an immense story. And alongside this guy, they're just talismanic, aren't they, for the Springboks? I just don't think, I think all the factors lean towards the Lions' result. The preparation, that South Africa A game is huge. In 2009, we played a lot of warm-up games. We weren't ready for what was coming in that first test in Durban. First half, they blew us off the park. We weren't prepared. Gatland wouldn't want to see history repeat itself. He was forwards coach on that tour 12 years ago, and he would have been delighted playing South Africa A in that warm-up game. I think it'll stand him in very good stead, and I just think that the preparation the Lions have had, the disruption to the box camp, as much as it'll galvanise them, I don't think it'll be enough. It's at sea level. I see the Lions winning the first test.
I'll give a couple of lines. I was in South Africa with RugbyPass, did an Explorer show, went to Sia Khaleesi's home where he's come from, saw where Cheslin Colby, and what rugby does in South Africa as a nation is quite unbelievable. We talk about the power of sport in this country. We've obviously seen it during the pandemic when we've been able to watch it at home. In a country that's on its absolute knees now, to watch South Africa play, for Sia Khaleesi to be in bed with COVID or whatever he has been for the last 20 days, and for him to start, they know the magnitude of these test series. They know the magnitude of this game, and I don't want to write them off. I think the Lions will win this week. I think South Africa will come back into test 2, and I hope that the Lions can win the 3rd test match and win the series, but it's South Africa. They're world champions again. They're world champions after 95, going into 97, 2009, as well off the back of the 2007 Lions tour. So